Coming to you from Billy's Beach Cafe, one of the regulars here at Billy's, and a Ranger legend. Let's have a nice welcome for a Ranger legend, Pete Stemkowski.
What a crowd, what a crowd, what a crowd.
Pete, I ran into you several weeks ago and I told you about the Sharks, and your immediate reaction was to be so enthusiastic. You've already met Jim Lochran several times.
Yep.
Talk about, from your perspective, a guy that played 15 years in the NHL, a guy that won a Stanley Cup. How excited you are that the Sharks are coming to Long Beach?
Well, I'm very excited. I mean, I used to work for a team called the Sharks, the San Jose Sharks. So when you jump over here into Long Beach, I mean, it's a natural fit as far as I'm concerned. We got a lot of hockey fans in this town. We got a lot of Islander fans, but I think we got a lot more Ranger fans. And there we go. See that? Where did we hear that before?
Let's go, fans!
So there we go. And I got a chance to jump in. You know, I work with the Rangers. I work with the Sharks. And I can stay home, a little close to home here. And we got some enthusiastic kids coming in. I mean, they're 15, 16, 17-year-old boys. It's going to be a very competitive league. We're going to be playing at the Long Beach Arena, so it's a different hat for me. I've been doing some scouting, some coaching, some broadcasting, so now I'm kind of going to be the general manager and overseeing some of the player development, things like that. So I'm a little up there a little bit as far as age is concerned, but I've done everything else, but I haven't done this, so I'm really, really looking forward to this hockey team coming to Long Beach.
And Stemmer, I can see you going to practices, going to games, and noticing things about how a guy is on his face-offs, how he can improve. So talk about having your input with all your professional experience can bring so much to the table for this young talent.
Well, you know, when you look at some of these kids, they probably have never heard about me, 16, 17-year-old, but when you talk to their grandfathers or their grandmothers, they say, yeah, I heard of that guy. And I've always found when I've been involved in this game, when the kids find out that you played the game itself and you played the National Hockey League and you show them a Stanley Cup ring, it means it's an impact on these kids. So I'm going to be watching. I'm not going to jump in there with the coaches and being in their face all the time. That's their job to coach. But, I want to bring an entertaining team here. I want the people of Long Beach to come and watch us, because I think we're in it to win it.
Right.
And if I can spot something, and at the end of the period, the end of the game, or before a game or at practice, I'm going to pull the coach aside and say, listen, I see Joe's doing this or Harry's doing this, and, let him go and if they want me to talk to any of the particular players, I'll be happy to do it. So, I started skating up in Winnipeg, Canada when I was 6 years old, and I'm a lot older than that. 15 years in the National Hockey League. So, I always say, as you get older, you don't get stupider. So I got some knowledge up here, and I'm more than willing to pass it along to some of these young hockey players.
Stemmer, for a lot of people out there, when the Rangers came to Long Beach in the 70s, brought here by my friend Bob Carroll from the Long Beach Rec, talk about how the Long Beach community embraced the Rangers and how Long Beach really, truly is a great hockey town, and that's why it's such a great fit between the Sharks and Long Beach.
Well, coming back in the early 70s, I think, you mentioned Bob Carroll, certainly him and a lot of other people were involved in putting up the arena here. And also you have to tip your cap to Emil, the Cat Francis. He not only worked with the city of Long Beach, but with Nassau County to put up a first-class facility over there on the water here in Long Beach. And I think the thing with us back in the 70s, Howie, is when we came here, not only we were part of the New York Rangers, but we were part of the community. I mean, there was 20 guys on the team. 18 of us lived here in Long Beach. So we went to the dry cleaner. We went to the supermarket. We probably went to the occasional water hole back then. So
Shine's Bar was a popular joint.
Sponsor. All right, yeah. So we got to know people, and all during the years we've met the people, we've met their kids. So we've kind of infringed on here, and we've become part of the community. So you can still see the sign hanging over the building there, the former home of the New York Rangers. So we became the community. I'm the only one living here. A couple others are living out in Long Island, but this is Ranger country, baby. This is still Ranger country.
Yeah, and one of our great memories, it's still considered one of the greatest games ever played at Madison Square Garden. Stemmer, you scored in triple overtime to beat the Blackhawks. People to this day still bring that up.
Well, and people who didn't see it, I think it was April 27th, 1971, Madison Square Garden. People who didn't see that particular goal, I always tell them I got the puck behind the net. I went through the defenseman, deked the goalie, put it up in the top corner. So that's the way I describe it. That's not really how it happened, but You know, so many people come by and say, we were kids at the time, and it was a school night, and the parents would say, shut it off. You got to go to school. And you know how many people tell me that transistor was in there under the covers, under the ear when they listened to the game. Game ended about 12:30. I don't think I got much sleep that night, so people still bring that up. So when you did something some 40 years ago and people still bring it up to you, it's nice. It's nice that people remember that, and it certainly was one of the highlights of my National Hockey League career.
You know, one thing I was always impressed about talking to Stemmer is that the bond from those old Ranger teams still exists. You know, if you ever go to the barber shop in the middle of town on National, there's a picture of the 70s Rangers in the barber shop, and we brought that out for a video once. And Stemmer, you named every person in that picture, even the equipment managers, exactly where they are today. So that shows you 40 years, you're still in touch with every single member of that team.
Well, it was a very closely knit team, and we have a golf tournament prior to training camp up in Westchester every year, the New York Rangers, and it's for charity. I should mention the New York Rangers and the alumni, we do a tremendous amount of charity work, a lot of things that we don't broadcast, but we're happy to give our time and our effort to. And when we do these golf tournaments, the present guys show up just prior to training camp, and Eddie Jackman, Steve Vickers, Rod Seelig, Brad Park, Jim Nielsen, all these guys show up, and here we are. I mean, we don't move like we used to, but the stories are the same. Some of it changed during the years, but if we came close, a couple of games away from winning the Stanley Cup, but we still got some great memories, and we still talk to Emil Francis once in a while. He's close to 90 years of age, living down in Florida. So, of all the teams, Howie, I played 15 years on a lot of teams in the National Hockey League. A lot of people came, in and out, but those years in the early 70s, the New York Rangers, we were very, very close. So it's always great to get together with those guys.
Yeah, that was a great team, and I gotta say, if it wasn't for Bobby Orr, that team would have won 2 or 3 cups. Number 4.
Yeah, what can you say? I mean, there were some great players, and as for myself, I always look back on my hockey career and saying that I not only played with, but I played against a lot of the great players. I mean, I actually played against Jean Beliveau, and when people say Jean Beliveau, I mean, that's an ancient man. That's like Maurice the Rocket Richard. And, I had a chance to play against Bobby Orr. I had a chance to play with and against Gordie Howe.
Bobby Hull, Stan McKenna.
Bobby Hull, when Bobby would let that shot go about 100 miles an hour, if it hit you on the leg, you just went straight to the hospital. And you got out of the way. Back then, the way guys used to shoot the puck, we used to get out of the way. Now they block shots with all the equipment they got. But I've been very fortunate to play on a Stanley Cup team, and I still do some work for the New York Rangers, but I'm certainly going to give a lot of effort to the Long Beach Sharks this year. It's going to be great. We start in September. There's a lot of enthusiasm for the kids. I know we're going to get out in the neighborhood, and we're going to tell the people all about this team. I want them to come and watch. We got a lot of special evenings, Wounded Warriors. I think breast cancer. We have a Ranger member, old-time Rangers are coming in. So we not only are going to be playing these games, we're going to have special event nights. So we want the people in Long Beach and outside of Long Beach to come and watch. And I promise you that we're going to put a good product on the ice, and you're going to enjoy it.
I totally believe that. I think from the entertainment at the Shark Tank, like we featured Joe and his daughter, there's going to be so much great entertainment where people are going to come and they're going to say, "Wow, what a great night! We had great entertainment, great hockey." And for $5, families can come. I mean, now you go to a professional sporting event for 4 people. I don't care if it's baseball, hockey. You're looking at $300-400. So this is going to be a great night of entertainment. So great for the city of Long Beach.
Well, yeah, these kids are not. This is not the business where these kids are signing 5-year contracts for millions of dollars. These kids are coming here to play because they want to play hockey. And you get a 16 or 17-year-old kid. His motivation is to play, possibly move up and get himself into a college. So there's no business, there's no money, there's no bonuses for these kids if they score goals. They're here because they want to play hockey. They'll be going to school, getting an education, and hopefully moving on to bigger things. So the energy and the enthusiasm, I know, Howie, it's going to rub off on you, it's going to rub off on me, and let's hopefully it rubs off on the community of Long Beach.
Stem, there's been a late controversy in hockey, and I think you're the perfect person to ask. There's been a controversy where people accusing Sidney Crosby of cheating on faceoffs. Sidney Crosby cheating on faceoffs. So take it from a faceoff expert, one of the best in the business during your time. Is he cheating on faceoffs or not?
Well, first of all, if if you want to talk about cheating in face-offs, and I've never really brought this up, but probably the biggest cheater of all time, and he's in the Hall of Fame, he's won a couple of Stanley Cups, and I knocked heads with him. We dropped our gloves and went at it against each other. It was Bobby Clark of the Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh, that was the dirtiest. I hated that team.
Well,
Broad Street Bullies.
Trust me, they didn't like us too much either. I mean, the story, when we used to go to Philadelphia and play the Flyers, the bus would be downstairs and the fans would surround the bus and start shaking it. So we wouldn't get on the bus in Philadelphia until he was ready to step on the pedal and go. That's the mentality they had in Philadelphia. But as far as cheating is concerned, when you see some of the comments coming out right now, everybody tries to get that advantage. And the rule in the National Hockey League is they don't implement it. The visiting guy has to put his stick on the ice first, and that's not happening. And I watched a couple of face-offs, that Crosby has won, and they were clean cut. So, it's kind of sour grapes at this point. And I like the way the coach, Mike Sullivan of the Pittsburgh Penguins, they asked him, they said, non-issue, move on, next question. So everybody tries to get an edge, but I think when somebody brought that subject up, I think it kind of push it aside. If I can cheat a little bit and win, good for me, bad for you.
And I give the Penguins management tremendous credit because they switched coaches. And they said that one of the reasons they switched coaches is they went from a coach that was afraid to play to the team's weaknesses to a coach that would perpetuate the team's strengths. And it's made all the difference in the world. So a gutsy move is paying off for the Penguins.
Well, you got top players. People always ask me, if you're going to start a hockey game, they've asked me this in the last year or 2 years. They say, they're giving you a hockey team, Pete. Who's the first player that you would take? And I'm not saying that because I'm with you right now, but the first guy I always said I would select would be Sidney Crosby. He goes both ways. He wins faceoffs. He's a center iceman. He's got speed. He can kill penalties. He's good on the power play. He's good 5-on-5. So that's the guy that I want. And, with Mike Sullivan, the coach, I don't know whether people realize that. He used to be assistant coach with the New York Rangers under John Tortorella. So I don't know, maybe we should have really taken a closer look at him somewhere back when. But you got to let your big guys play. And when you stress defense a little bit too much, you're not thinking offense. So I think he kind of took the ropes off these guys. Sidney, Malcolm, go. And away they went, and they're getting great goalkeeper. But it's not over yet. 2-0.
Never count the Sharks out.
Exactly.
All right.
Go Sharks.
All right, so Stella, look into that camera. And for all you Long Beachers out there, I want you to give them a message as why they should come to the Sharks games starting in September. September, it's all yours.
Great entertainment. Come on down. We got some enthusiastic boys. I'll be there. We got Gilles Villemure, a Vezina Trophy New York Ranger. He'll be one of our coaches. There's going to be a lot of excitement in the stands. We're going to have special nights. And the brand of hockey, man, I'm going to be out there watching these coaches. We're going to crack the whip on these kids. So we're going to have a lot of energy. We're going to win a lot of hockey games, and it's a tremendous entertainment. So you're going to get a good bang for your buck. So come out and support the Long Beach Sharks. We drop the puck in early September. So looking forward to seeing you all over at the Long Beach Arena.
All right. Folks, you heard it from Ranger legend, the one and only Pete Stemkowski. The place to be. In September, all the way through March, Long Beach Arena, support the new, exciting Long Beach Sharks. They're coming to Long Beach. You're going to love it. It's going to be great entertainment, great hockey, right here in the greatest city of Long Island, Long Beach, New York.